Hi, it's Cory, and today you're going to learn how to play Epona song from the Legend of Zelda series. If you're at all interested in getting the full parts and tab and stuff for this tutorial or any of my other tutorials, make sure to check out my Patreon. I keep all of my lead sheets and extra resource and everything there. So if you're at all interested in getting access to some of that stuff or also just supporting the channel in a different way, make sure to check it out. And I have it all linked in the description box if you're interested. But otherwise, let's get into it. Before you get started, always make sure your ukulele is in tune. That's going to be a G on the 4th string, a C on the 3rd string, an E on the 2nd string, and an A on the 1st string. The typical melody, and this is like a simplified kind of cute version of it, one that you should be able to kind of pick up and play right away. It's the easy version. The main thing is the da 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 da. That's sort of the main melody here. I've given you a little intro section, which if it's too difficult, just skip it and go straight to the main melody. But also the way I've written it out too, it is using multiple endings. So what we're going to do is we're going to be playing through to where you see a little bracket with the number 1. That is the first ending. We're then going to repeat back to where there's a closed bracket with 2 dots. That is a repeat sign in music. We'll start playing again there. That is the main melody section of the song. And then once we get to where it says number 1, we're actually going to skip to the next bracket where it says number 2. You should be able to see all that highlighted and stuff just as a bit of a navigation, but you know, I figure it kind of saves a little bit of space on the screen and you're able to learn a little bit of standard notation, navigation, and scores, which is really important because it's very commonly used even in tab. And I find it's just nicer to kind of, rather than having a whole page of tab, you can just look at a lot more condensed material. So we're going to look at first is the intro section. We are then going to look at the main melody section, and then we're going to look at the final ending. So for the intro section, what you're going to do first is we're going to put our fingers in a chord shape, essentially. And it's going to make it a lot easier to be able to play. Now your fingers are going to be going in the same locations as it says in tab. I just find it's a little bit easier to think of it as a chord shape instead. So what you're going to do is you're going to take your first finger and you are going to bar all across the 2nd fret here, and you're going to take your 2nd finger and place it over, and that's going to give it a little bit of extra strength to make sure all your pitches sound correctly. You're then going to take your pinky and then place it on the 5th fret where your 1st fret marker is, and that's going to be on the 1st string, and that's what's going to give you your D pitch. All right. So when your fingers are in this position, you are able to play the entire first measure of the music. What you're going to be doing is starting with string 3 here, you're going to pluck, and then you're going to follow that with string 2. So you're going to go. Now this pattern is in a triplet. We're going to have a longer first pick and then a shorter second pick, and then we're going to actually pick strings 4 and 1 at the same time twice. All together, it's going to sound like this. All right, so that's what the entire first measure is, and it's going to give this really cute little intro section. So you have, after that, you're going to actually lift up your first finger and you're just going to move your 2nd finger into either what you might think of as a C major 7 position. You're just putting it on the 1st string where that creates the B pitch. And you're going to do the same rhythmic pattern, but you're going to switch strings. Rather than being on the 3rd and 2nd string, you're now going to pick that same rhythmic pattern, but on the 4th and 1st string. And then you're actually going to place your pinky back down on the 5th fret, 1st string, and you're going to pluck strings 4 and 1 again. So that second measure is going to sound like this. Then what you're going to do is put those 2 measures together. When you've done all that, it sounds like this. And what's great is then you're just repeating that whole thing again. So you're then left with these 4 measures of repeated material. So the whole thing sounds like this. So again, I'm playing those 2 measures we just learned. I'm just going to repeat the 2 measures after each other. What you're really basically just doing on this main melody section is, if you can work on this shape of being in the D, which is your pinky on the 5th fret 1st string, and then placing either your 1st or 2nd finger on the 2nd fret of the 1st string. And of course you have to lift up your pinky, and then having an open A. That is a lot of what this melody is. It's just the and then we're gonna go back to the B and then A. And that's the first 4 measures of this main melody section. So part 2 of the melody is going to be starting on the 2nd string here. You're gonna place your 2nd finger on the 2nd fret of the 2nd string, and then move to your 1st finger, back to your 2nd finger. You're then going to move that 2nd finger over to your B pitch again, which is the 1st string 2nd fret. You're then going to be using your 3rd finger here to place it on the 1st string 4th fret, and that's going to get you a C sharp, followed by your D pitch again with your pinky, okay? That is kind of the main thing, and then you're going to be going back down to the 4th fret 1st string, then to the 2nd fret 1st string, and then the open A, and that's going to kind of finish out the entire melody section. That whole part is going to sound like this. Then what you're gonna do is you're gonna repeat back to the beginning of the melody section, and you're gonna go all the way through to when you get to the, on the 2nd string, the 2, 1, 2 part, but instead you're going to just go right back up to the 2, then 4, 5 on the 1st string, and finish it off with an additional D, moving up to the 7th fret, pluck that, it's an E pitch, but you're going to pluck it on the 7th fret there, and then you're going to finish it off with that same chord shape that we started the entire song with, which gives you a D chord. So the entire melody section is going to sound like this. I'm going to finish it and pause really quick just before I get to the little ending section. Then repeat. And this is where you add the ending section, which is again just the repeated on the 1st string of 2, 4, 5, then repeat 5, 7, that chord shape ending on the D. With all that though, let's give it a full play along. I'm going to move you a little bit closer, that way you can just see what I'm doing with my hands and to be able to use it however you need it. Also, this song is meant to be played fairly kind of slow a little bit, like a very slow gallop sort of, so don't feel like you have to be going as fast as I'm going, or also take advantage of the settings option to be able to slow down the video too, to play along with it if that helps you better. 1, 2, 3, here we go. And that is Eponia's song from The Legend of Zelda. If you are a big Zelda fan and you'd love to hear more of the classic tunes, either in this easy version or a more extrapolated, like fuller accompanied version, let me know down in the comments below. Of course, the more complex things get, the higher the skill level is required. So just keep that in mind for yourself too. If you kind of struggled through this, it might mean that you're kind of more at that beginner level, and that's okay too. But I also have other nerdy songs and stuff all organized in a nice playlist. So if you want to check that out, go for it. Otherwise, if there are other like video game songs and stuff like that, like huge amount of my time in my personal life is spent towards these nerdy endeavors. So I'm always happy to come up with some ideas. So if you have some ideas, let me know and I'll look through them and see what I can do. But otherwise, I hope you guys have a great day and I'll see you next time. Bye!